Wanted to quickly cover the blocking Agony build I did last league in 3.7, just to kind of cover the tree real quick and some changes and some thoughts on different ways to do this for the 3.8 Blight League that's launching today. The core thing that's changed, really, the only thing on the tree that's super changed that you'll have to pay attention to is this node and this node have changed in 3.8. They've basically just swapped them and given this node an extra life, or I think it's a regen tick, or maybe a leech. It picked up some extra, but anyways, they've swapped, so our tree now definitely has to come through here to get this way in. Before we used to come up here, here, and then grab these like 3 or 4 that was this node, but since they've moved them, I guess since it feels better for the way other things work and a few other things they've shuffled, they swapped them. So that's the core piece. We're not changing the ascendancy any. It's staying the same with the versatile combat, violent retaliation, and blood in the eyes. Once again, we don't take arena because we don't have enough room to run the stance. If we could squeeze enough mana out, we could possibly pull it off, but with the new changes to how channeling is going to be, we're going to probably squeeze more mana out just to have enough to survive our cyclone. So we'll keep a blood in the eyes. It also gives us the blind. So we basically permanently blind, which cuts our damage received in half basically, because it means every attack is basically taking a 50% reduction in the ability to hit us. So accuracy is losing 50%. That's a powerful item to have for blind on our defense. So tree-wise, that's pretty much where we're at for our level 91. Everything else pretty much stays the same. I'll go ahead and link this path of building. Items, we're still running the claws with the cast. And basically the same gear, so nothing's changed there. Now, one thing that was asked, and I'll cover this actually, is what if I don't want to run Cyclone? You can do that. You could actually shift to what I suggest you could do, since we can actually shield charge now with wands, we could put our fortify. Well, now for this build, you're going to want to keep the Cyclone because you're going to get the life gain on hit, which is our sustain. There is an option, I tested it, it does work if you want to be more of a caster remote person, and that is you can run Stormbrand, Poison, Lesser Poison, and Brand Recall, and you will pick up your stacks just as quickly as if you were cycloning through. So you basically run to a pack, Brand Recall, they arc out through the pack, your Agony Crawler gets full stacks again, zap over to the next one with Flame Dash, repeat. It gives you the ability to stay away in boss fights a bit and just kind of evade. Reason to think on this is with the new wands, which I haven't really been able to simulate well here in Path of Building. With the +1 gem to like minion gems, allows us to boost our Agony Crawler and all the minion gems associated with that. And so our Agony Crawler will pick up a lot of extra damage that way. It's really not necessary though. Like I said, it's just a way some people asked. I tested it. It does work. So personally, for the life piece, I say Cyclone is still going to be the best way to go for the Agony Crawler. I have back and forth went on possibly thinking, since there's a whole lot of sustain now in the Necromancer, of changing, because like we could possibly pick to Essence of Glutton, which regenerate every time we consume a corpse, and just in our cast setup or use skill in our claws, where we're basically casting trigger a psychic spell when you use a skill. Just simply put Raise Corpse or Desecrate and Corpse Explosion in those. So while we're pumping or tapping Cyclone around the boss, it's consuming corpses which would basically give us a regeneration of 8% energy shield for every time we do that. So I've thought about some of that, because then there's some other nice pieces. You guys see how bone armor plays out in full, unnatural strength, and we also have corpse pack, which isn't helpful. Too much so. I'm still thinking going block for this build, the Agony Crawler way, is the best way to do it. For the most, just right click, walk through mobs and clear maps quickly and lay down every boss with no problem. So kind of an update on where this build is for 3.8. I've actually made another build that I'm going to be running to start League with, and I'll post a video about that here in just a few as well, but it's more of a pure minion focused build, where it's less about, you know, staying infinitely defensible by having, you know, almost a max, or having cap block, blind, and insane regen. Instead, it's going to use minions to basically be, you know, meat walls while I stand back and cast power, siphon, or maybe the Stormbrand setup to generate my Agony Crawler poison stacks. So, but for the Cyclone option, which is probably going to be the safest option, I'm worried about dying a little bit with the minion build, the pure minion build. We'll see how it plays. This should do well with the Blight mechanic, because we can Cyclone to kind of, basically we can Cyclone and block paths, since the minions are going to focus on attacking us, and then our Crawler will just wipe that path out and keep on moving. And since it can shoot areas across multiple lanes, we should be able to do pretty good at managing them. And with our ability to quickly heal or regen with the life on hit, that should give us additional kind of safeguards if the towers need, if it takes a while to get towers set up or figure towers and stuff out, we'll be able to really hammer through that pretty quickly and figure it out with having a good amount of stability. Well, I'm going to cut this video off here. Look for my other one today if you want more of a pure full minion, zombies, skeletons, specter build that uses Agony Crawler. The other advantage that we have, which I forgot real quick, on our items, well, we have these two rings. We'll swap one of them for the Agony Crawler ring that was from Synthesis League. Since we've got the Synthesis boss fights back, I believe they're in Delves, possibly. Or I think possibly Delves, and I think there's Xena option for one of her map options. Since we can run those, we should be able to get the Agony Rings, which reduce the Agony Crawler's mana by 40%. If we get those, and they're not too expensive, it's definitely worth it. Freeze your Chant Helm up to give the Agony Crawler multiple or more projectiles, and it'll make your mana reserve great. If we have that, we should be able to pull mana down enough, or mana requirements, that we could shift to Arena Challenger. I'll make an update once I see what those rings kind of fall out and how much it kind of reduces the overall cost, values and rates. That way we can see if it's better, because I think with those rings being back, without it being a completely, almost nearly impossible random chance that you get it, the Arena Challenger should be an option for us again, which could be because we get a lot more attack speed, we'll get the Challenger charges, and, you know, be able to kind of keep those charges up, which are quite helpful. So anyways, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try and answer them as soon as I can. And remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.